Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, May 28th, Memorial Day in the United States. We have somebody that wanted to play me, but he's not free right now, so we'll just have to move forward. I only need to play 2 more minions that cost 5 or more. This is the 3rd recording for today, and it's gonna be... I would be rather stupid to say it's gonna be shorter than average, but I don't think it's gonna be longer than the 45 minutes that I schedule for each recording. We don't have a ton of games. I'm gonna try to even go through the games a little bit faster so that like Friday's stream, I said I want to have 10 minutes just so I can scroll through my Twitter feed just to make sure there's not any new content or news that came out. But I think if I move fast, because I need to move fast all the time through these games, I'm learning that. Maybe I'm not actually doing it, but I'm learning that that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So we have a game on Steam called Tainted Fate. It is an early access action adventure indie gore, as far as the tags. It says plays as a demon unwillingly summoned from the depths of hell into our world. Use your demonic abilities to gruesomely take down everything between you and your path back to the underworld. Be the horror. Okay, let's watch this trailer. So it's in kind of odd, odd way to describe a situation that a demon would be summoned from hell and want to go back to hell. That's not the hell that most people imagine. The thought would be that even the demons don't want to be there. See, and the thing here about this game is I cannot just call this an asset flip. Somebody spent some effort here. At least I'm seeing 4 or 5 different areas, 4 or 5 different enemies that you can grab and tear apart from limb to limb. It's something. The graphics seem like they might be a little inconsistent, and they probably aren't all made by the developer, but this isn't a low effort. Somebody really had some passion. I just need to play this guy and one other guy over 5 mana. There's screenshots of just areas that probably are fight levels. It doesn't seem like this is a full-on story. And it's a VR game. And that explains a lot of why it's so focused on the tearing things from limb to limb. It is because you are actually playing as the demon who is actually tearing things from limb to limb. Probably should have killed that guy. So it's 10% off for $13.49. I think you kind of know what you're getting here. You're paying a major premium to be able to play in VR and rip things from limb to limb. There's 4 positive reviews and 1 negative that says extremely not fun, but somehow that got labeled as not in English. I don't understand how Steam's language filter works. It seems like it filters out anything that is even slightly short as not being in a language. Tainted Fate. I see where it's going. I see what they're doing. It's a VR game where you get to play as a demon and rip people from limb to limb. Interesting, small, short experiences, which is what most VR games are, and unfortunately it's just charging too much, as often is the case. Next game we have is a game called Broken Minds. It says it's a psychological murder mystery set in 90s Japan. Adventure indie. Let's see. Is this an old looking game? Or is this... This came out originally in 1992, so sometimes games are old games that just now are released on Steam, and I think that's the case here. Now, I don't know if this is a Western game set in Japan or a Japanese game with just a extremely different animation style. It's only in English, so I guess I have to assume it's a Western game just set in Japan, 90s Japan for some reason. Maybe that plays a part in the story.
A stranger will offer you aid.
Job done.
So yeah, it's English only. Murder mystery visual novel set in 90s Japan with a non-anime style. The art style is very much in line with Daft Punk's art style. This originally came out in 1992. I'm half wondering if the animator who animates Daft Punk is not the person who made this game. And see, this is from a developer called Locked On that has nothing else to sell. It's 10% off for $6.29, and it succeeded. This is an old game that's got my attention, and because of that, because of its uniqueness, I'm gonna put Broken Minds on my wish list. Can I directly say that I would recommend this game? No. Being a murder mystery visual novel, I think there's probably an issue there already, but jeez, how far back was I? I am really far back. I need to hurry up. Next game we have is called Dwarf Defense, early access strategy action game. It's a real-time tower defense game. In fairness, it looks pretty good. It looks like Diablo from a top-down perspective, angled, but yeah, I just don't want a tower defense game. And see, that's the thing, is that Dungeon Keeper, I guess, effectively is a tower defense game with a dungeon crafting game built on top of it. And I really did like Dungeon Keeper. This guy, unfortunately, apologies to this person because his 1v1 request is now going to be ignored and I'm moving on. I guess maybe I should have responded, and he would have made more of an effort, but frankly that's just going to slow down the flow of this recording, so I need to move on. So what can sell this game to me? It's early access, 30%, $3.49. So if there were reviews, maybe that would catch my attention, but there isn't. Dwarf Defense looks good. Its thumbnail doesn't look good. It's pretty bad. So let's start by re-rolling this. 10 demons, battle cry cards, and 3 monster hunt battle things. We can do this. We can do this just fine. Where are we with a warlock? Apparently we have no warlock. So we'll take this. Might as well play ranked. The developer of Dwarf Defense hasn't got any other games, so they've got no credibility. So I'm just gonna have to close that one. Another hidden gem that could be overlooked. Next game we have is a game called Trainiac. Shoot your way through enemies as you jump from train to train in a unique action game. The difficulty increases as you progress. Watch your back as you might encounter drive-by shootings. How far will you get? This is an asset flip, certainly. The graphics very bland and generic, no details, low polygon type element. The menus and health bars and stuff are extremely low detailed and generic. But for an asset flip game, I will say at least they have an original idea. It's 15% off for $2.54. But I certainly wouldn't recommend it. There's 2 positive reviews, but still, this feels like something you would play if you were a streamer and a big time streamer, and it would get you some attention, and that would be about it. And it's starting to be really questionable whether even the big time streamers can get away with playing crazy games. More and more that they are just playing the AAA titles and the games they actually want to play. Let's see. Let's play this.
Get it out! Get it out!
Do this. Discard that. And draw and move to hard. Play. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't recommend anybody play Trainiac. Moving on. Gamasutra has an article, Get a Job. PlayQ is looking for a UI UX designer. That would be in Santa Monica, California. I think a lot of these jobs at this point are getting repeated because they're still looking. One would assume that's the reason.
I have big plans.
Deal 1 damage if it kills it, draw a card. We'll do that. I'll dry.
Job done.
PC Gamer has an article, The Hidden Tricks Bringing Games Worlds to Life. Let's quickly go through this article and see if there's anything interesting here. Here's a quote, one of the most cutting-edge rendering solutions in games hides in the code of a 2D platformer. And then it continues in the quote because it doesn't have quotation marks at the end. I think that's just what PC Gamer does. Yeah, so this is a whole article, but it doesn't have any chapter points or title points. So I feel like I'd have to read it, and I'm not sure I want to waste the time to read it. I've got actually quite a bit of work to do. I guess it's taken a while for me to get to this point, but TechRaptor and everybody else has an article talking about how the Atari co-founder Ted Dabney died at age 80. Ted Dabney was the co-founder of Atari, and then its predecessor SYZYGY. He died at age 80. Ted Dabney was diagnosed with esophageal cancer in 2017 and given 8 months to live. Dabney was born in 1937. He co-founded Syzynergy Energy Engineering with Nolan Bushnell in the early 1970s. And after the pair developed Computer Space, a coin-opted title closely modeled on Space War as the first commercially available coin-op title. Did not know that. Let's keep playing these Battlecry cards. Syzygy became Atari shortly afterward, and The company went to produce classics of arcade eras such as Pong, Asteroids, Breakout, and more, many of which were phenomenally successful at Atari. Some of the internals used to create Pong was based on Dabney's video circuit created for computer space, which means Dabney was instrumental in creating what is arguably the company's best known and most successful game. Ted Dabney would go on to depart Atari shortly after a supposed acrimonious split with long-term business partner Bushnell, whose presence in the gaming industry was greatly diminished after his Atari departure, and his role in creating Pong, as well as many other Atari games, would be somewhat shrouded in mystery until the late 20s. Dabney appeared on a retro gaming podcast, Retro Gaming Roundup in 2010. Shortly after his Edge magazine interview, and told his side of the story there. These two media let's keep playing. Let's not forget to actually play Hearthstone. Like, these two media appearances were the first time many had heard from him in decades. After this, Dabney would give sporadic interviews elsewhere, but his input into the gaming industry was largely focused on Atari in the 1970s with a healthy dose of Chuck E. Cheese, both the restaurant and some of the computer games there. That's because he went on to start Chuck E. Cheese, the restaurant, and let's see, both restaurants. And then at the bottom of this Tech Raptor article it says, do you want to leave a tribute for Ted Dabney? Have a personal story regarding him? Let us know in the comments below. And see, that feels like that is comment bait, but at least it's somewhat valuable. Do I see any comments here though? No, not really. So there's certainly a lot of issue with credit to people who worked in Atari specifically, because there weren't credits in the Atari games, and they were kind of keeping it all to themselves and not crediting any of the creators. There's also a heavy number of female people that worked at Atari and made it a very successful company that some articles have gone and given credit retroactively to. Let's keep playing. So that's I would say a very nicely written eulogy. The man is 80, so there was enough there to get an entire paragraph or two talking about their time, their life. In comparison to like the eulogy of Total Biscuit, a lot of articles I saw didn't have anything to say about him or anything really detailed. And the one thing you want is the ability to know what this person did in their life. Just keep on playing. Speaking of the death of John Bain, Total Biscuit, it seems like former employee of EA went on a long 6 Twitter post rant and screed about against Total Biscuit an hour and a half after he died, just being super evil. It's not a word I use much, but just super malicious and angry and hateful an hour and a half after the guy died. Like, and really you have to assume it's because the person is and extreme. I'm not calling them SJWs anymore. I'm calling them progressive extremists. You have to assume that, because that's really the number one thing that I know of Total Biscuit that irritated people. If it really was just that Total Biscuit reviewed one of the games he worked on poorly, and you're having such a negative and hateful response and feelings to them, and also it's fair to point out that you didn't say any of this while he was alive and could defend himself, so that's pretty cowardly on top of being mean and spiteful. The good news is EA, which is known as one of the worst companies rated by consumers for many years. The EA, the people who brought us microtransactions in Shadow of Mordor and Battlefront 2, even they have a line, and they seemingly fired the guy, and he shut down his Twitter and deleted the tweets, it seems. But like, I imagine other people said similar things in private, but at least those other people had the good sense to say something. Dancing on the grave of anybody is not great. Even when Osama bin Laden was killed, there was a lot of people who were dancing on his grave, but then there was also a lot of people who were just like, well, we're no longer at danger from this person, let's just move on, let's not celebrate it. And I would say all Americans at this point don't know the day he was killed. Like, we're not celebrating it as a holiday or anything. I would argue, though, that there probably would have been better if there was more evidence that he actually was killed. There's not a lot of conspiracy theories out there, but there wasn't an overwhelming preponderance of footage either. So, like, I totally 100% believe he was killed, but I could also see there's a documentary or show that's proposing the theory that Hitler actually didn't die at the end of World War II, and that he may have actually escaped. And there's seems to be some evidence and some theories that is true. That people at least believe that to be true. So yeah, it would have been probably better if they had shown some really bloody footage to everybody, and that I could now look on YouTube.
Valid target.
I'm just playing all the cards I can. Moving on, Your Gamer has an article. Microsoft Stealth releases a PC racing game called Miami Street, and it's nothing like Forza. Let's see. Miami Street is a free-to-down racing game that presents a cinematic view of the racing with quick-time events for things like taking corners. It looks like this. Let's see. Is this a games for Windows only scenario? It seems like it's having you tap the left mouse button to give it gas before you even launch, and there is a basic amount of bars in the background to indicate how much you should be clicking. I kind of think you would have to stealth release a game like this. It's such a weird quick time events in racing. What a weird experiment. The game is the work of a Brighton-based developer, Electric Square, which is the sister studio of Studio Gobo. New content for For Honor and Disney Infinity, and since both of those games failed, it soft launches on the Microsoft Store this week, which means it's not available in all territories. Keep playing Battlecry cards and keep playing demons.
Get it out! Get it out!
Let's see. To accelerate, you hold down the left mouse button, spacebar, or anywhere on the touchscreen. To brake, you release. Car automatically steers through turns, but you have to time your brake and hit the gas in the perfect time to get ahead. There's a boost too.
Relax. It's a party.
Let's see. Keep on playing. The idea is that Miami Street can be played on any Windows 10 PC device, and clearly it's aimed at a broad audience. Miami Street is single player and with Xbox Live achievements and cloud saves. So this definitely feels like it's only going to be on the Windows 10 store though, and it's just an attempt to have an exclusive on that store, which is not helpful. Can we do this?
You face Jaraxxus, Eldar Lord of the Burning Legion!
Just one more.
Go do this. I can't recommend Miami Street, particularly if you're gonna go through the Windows 10 store. That's a waste of time. It doesn't look like it's much of a game. It seems like it's a failed attempt at an experiment. Moving on, we have a game called Adventure in Kana Village, which is tagged as an RPG Maker game, and I think I've made my feeling on RPG Maker games very clear, so there's nothing here that interests me. It's 10% off for $6.29, and since it's an RPG Maker game, that's all I need to say. Let's close that tab. Sort of big announcement. I guess it depends on how you feel in general about the niche cult hit Killer 7, because it's coming to PC via Steam this fall, which this is the one. Suda51, is that the guy that made Killer 7? Yeah, I think Suda51 made Killer 7. This is the one game that he had not brought into PC yet, and I guess now it is coming to PC. I believe it was a PlayStation 1 game originally, maybe a PlayStation 2, so the graphics were already weird, but now without some extra work, they're going to be also a little bit weirder. I've never actually played Killer 7, so this is this would be the perfect time for me to hop into it and play it. The other game that they don't have are the No More Heroes games on PC, so hopefully we'll see these come out. Let's see. This is the first time in 13 years that the game has come out. It was written and directed by Suda51 and has the directors of Hiroyuki Kobayashi and Shinji Mikami, which are all big names in video in Japanese development. I'm not sure how long Killer 7 actually is. It may turn into a only 5-hour game, but that is fine with me. Maybe I should close that tab though. I definitely don't want to close that one. I definitely do want to wishlist it. Right, where were we? Now I'm having to find what I'm supposed to be doing. Seems like he's toying with me. We've got a game called Larkin Building by Frank Lloyd Wright. It's a VR game where I imagine you're walking around the Larkin. No, it's not a VR game. Well, this doesn't require VR. It seems like you're walking around the building and looking at it. It looks pretty good if you're interested in Frank Lloyd Wright or architecture in general. It's free to play, so you can't really complain about that. It says the Larkin Building is by Frank Lloyd Wright is one of the most famous office buildings of all time. It has been demolished in 1954 and there are no color pictures of the building till now. In a VR experience you can walk around. Although it seems like it doesn't require VR, so. It's from a developer who hasn't developed anything else, which seems a little weird. Like, they're showing a bunch of black and white pictures of the building, so they tried their best, I imagine. It seems like they did an accurate recreation in VR. But this definitely feels like a passion project. Next game we have on Steam is called Ghost Killer. It says it's a party-based RPG. And it's from a developer who's made a bunch of games that are all rated positively somehow when they all look like they are fake games. So there's either a decent number of people that they have on their payroll, 19 user reviews are positive on this game, or there's some kind of decent gameplay mechanic here that I'm not seeing that makes this make sense. It seems like they're just ghosts on the screen, and then there's a wave that goes up and down, and you're clicking buttons trying to hit certain enemies, or maybe you're waving the mouse around. I don't think so. Well.
Unleash me.
This actually does kind of look like a game, it just doesn't interest me. And frankly, I don't trust the developer. It's 40% off for $1.79. But I think there's some review manipulation going on here. 20 positive, 0 negative ones. Let's see how many achievements are on here. 500 Steam achievements, I see. So Ghost Killer isn't a Steam achievement game, and that's why so many people are happy with it, is because people know what they're getting when they're going into it. And now we need to play a bunch of Battlecry characters, which I believe we do have. This mage deck I think has a decent number of battle cries. Next game we have on Steam is called The Road Trip. It's mostly negative. 20% of 10 user reviews are positive. And Let's see, are you ready for the journey of a lifetime? Have you ever wanted a sandwich so badly you'd stop at nothing? Road trip. This is kind of just you're in a car, you're driving around. We've seen a few better versions of this, but this one has some crazy asset flip silliness to it. Let's see if I can get some more detailed. It's 10% off for $4.49. Let's get a detailed review, negative review. Let's see. Looking for battle cries. And we'll take those two. Should have gotten rid of that. First negative review is quit clicking on things if I could. The problem with this game is its incredible amount of bugs and basic missing features. There's no load and save, there's no control. Binding you configure your car will get stuck, then you will have to quit and restart the game multiple times to finish it because there's no load and save. And then it says, nope, the problem with this game is that for a game that is entirely about interesting art style and humorous story, you will just rush through both without really getting to enjoy them. The interactions only last a few seconds each. The rest of the time you're just staring at the road trying not to get your car stuck. Because there's no load and save, you flip it, you'll have to restart the entire chapter over. It's also extremely repetitive. The same story plays out in almost all of the chapters. Even entire scenes are reused for core plot points. Basically, you need to answer a bunch of questions in order to not get killed while trying to keep your eyes on the dark road as you drive. At night, this is basically the entire game. Let's play this. So it doesn't look good. It looks like a mess of a game. It sounds like it's a mess of a game. People I think were actually talking about this. The mainstream gaming media was talking about the road trip for some reason. I don't know why. And there's nothing there. Here's a slightly weird one. We have a game called X-Ray Hospital that is a graphic novel, it looks like, tagged with sexual content and nudity, adventure, indie, and casual. And it says, recently Janet had to go to the hospital for a spinal injection where she is examined by a beautiful and sexy Dr. Julia. And this feels a little weird. Like, this doesn't feel like a Japanese creator created this, but the animation style certainly is trying to ape Japanese animation. It seems weird because it seems like there's only 2 characters and like this is going to be an extremely short game. It's English and simplified Chinese, so you know directly that it's not actually a Japanese creator. It may be a cheap Chinese knockoff. That would certainly explain why the art style is as good as it is. It's $1.99 with no discount, but there's some bundles selling other things. It seems like there's no review. It seems like this, unlike most visual novels or dating sims or anything like that, it seems like it would only be at most an hour long. It's from a developer who's made several other games, but the only one that's ever even gotten reviewed is reviewed very negatively. Mostly negative, 31% of 22 users. And when I first saw this, I thought, well, maybe the nudity was going to come from you're going to play as a character running the x-rays, but then I guess you wouldn't be really seeing nudity in the x-ray machine, would you? You would be seeing just well, you would just be seeing bones. It's a shame. I'd like to see a real Japanese developer try to touch this in a good way. Touch that same kind of story, although I don't know if there really is a story there. It's just kind of a premise. The one thing that makes it stand out is the lack of variety. Just, like you only see the main character. Assuming the doctor isn't the main character, main character Janet is only shown at the very last screenshot. So cheap Chinese knockup of a visual novel. Yet that certainly wasn't a company that got a letter, or at least they didn't come out and say they got a letter as far as any of the news reporting said. So now I can add 3 random mage spells to my hand. Here's a different article about Killer 7. It came out on the PS2 and GameCube in 2005. So, some actual facts. PC Gamer has an article. The PUBG developer admits it's fallen short on performance improvements. Certainly has, and I think it's too little too late now. I don't think we're gonna see any more PUBG games or hype for it. Next game we have is an English-only game, visual novel anime simulation called The Sibling Experiment, an indie visual novel with family themes. Now, here's the thing about family themes, is this a bunch of anime looking girls and maybe one boy, or maybe 2 boys. There's one boy. Are they going to fall in love with each other, or is this real, like, actual normal family relationship stuff?
I wonder.
Frankly, they all look like they're at about the age where they would not probably want to hang out with each other too much anyways. So you kind of have to take that
Runs out on me.
for what it's worth. So, play this.
Don't mess with me!
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in the visual novel that implies that there's any romance going on. It's just people talking and facing the first screen. It says it's family, all ages. That is it. Okay, but here's the deal. The achievements give away that this is a fraudulent presentation to try to sneak in some incest storylines, because there's an achievement that's called Brotherly Love. There's an achievement that says Something More. There's one called D&D Queen. Then there's another one called Brotherly Love. So they have 2 achievements by the same name. There's an Unliking Pair, Skatings Forever, and in Skaters Forever there's one, I think, sister kissing the other sister. So yes, this is an incest game. That's what this is.
I'm warning you. I'm unstable!
I'm not going to inherently condemn a game for being an incest game, but I will condemn it for saying it's E for everyone, and it says it has an 82,000 word script. Let's see, 5 positive reviews. Yeah, it says it has 3 romance options to pursue. Keep in mind that you can't romance your own brother, so if you're looking for some incest, you'll be disappointed. Oh, I guess not. Maybe it's some kind of weird trade-off where a brother is getting his sister a date with some other siblings, so it's kind of like a trade-off. Like, hey, you're my best friend, you date my sister, I'll date your sister type thing. The only other game, Sibling Experiment is free to play, by the way. The only other game is called Paranormal Teens. In comparison, the art style seems like it's improved a little bit since that game was been released. The art style now almost looks like it's an actual Japanese animator doing it, but there's still a slight lack of quality in art style and understanding. The publisher has published a handful of games, and one is positive, one is neutral, and one is negative.
Time is now.
But I'm wasting too much time on the Sibling Experiment. It's free to play. If you want to check it out, check it out. Next game we have on Steam is called The Mysterious Ship. It's in English. I thought for a second maybe it wouldn't be because the developer is either Chinese or Japanese name. It's the only game from this developer. It's $1.99. It's an action indie casual simulation with gore according to the tags, but I didn't think that's what this was. I thought this was more of a point and click, find the few items game.
Awaken, my children.
I would call it more of a murder mystery horror click around game. Maybe not so much a point and click, or it is really a point and click, but you just don't have a main character on screen like you would in most point and clicks. There needs to be a better phrase for this. It's rated teen, it's $1.99. I'm a sucker for point and click games, even ones that are more closer to the mobile style point and click games, and so I'm gonna keep The Mysterious Ship on my wish list. Here's a question. We still need to play a lot of Battlecry cards, and do I want to delete something to make a Battlecry deck? Like, if I was to get rid of this Shaman deck, I think I need to, because I don't feel like I'm just gonna get rid of this Shaman deck, and then I'm going to type in Battlecry, or let's see if we can just type in the word cry and hit enter. Hunter, maybe? Let's try to make a Hunter deck. Hunter, this, Battlecry, 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 Battlecry. I probably need cheaper Battlecry cards. Let's get rid of everything that's pretty expensive and fill it with more of these. There we go. We'll call this one Cry. Enter. Done. 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 Come over here and play some Battlecry cards. Might as well play ranked. We've already talked about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. It's out now. People love it. It's the spiritual successor of Castlevania. It's the 8-bit style version of the game. It has an interesting mechanic in which after you beat a boss you unlock characters. Characters have different abilities that let you cross through different paths. There's a giant bomb quick click that I watched on it. It's caught my attention as somebody who hasn't even played Castlevania. It's $10. It's $9.99. And there's really nothing bad I can say about it, other than we expect that the other Bloodstained, the 3D, 3.5D platformer, the bigger Bloodstained game, will come out and be great. The developer is the same developer that made Galgun Double Ps and Galgun VR and a lot of DLC, but honestly everything that they've created is also highly recommended, so can't complain if it's in good company. Let's see, we already talked about the Atari co-founder dying. Let's see. There's a game called Paradox of the Cryptomancers. It looks like a simulation VR 3D environment puzzle game. It seems like it's a kind of an indie thing. 40% off for $2.99. Apparently there's a 0.5 Bitcoin prize pool. First to solve each of the 20 puzzles earn a share of a 0.5 prize pool, in addition to other crypto rewards. That seems like something that should not be allowed at all. Let's see. There's 2 positive reviews and no negative reviews, ignoring the Bitcoin thing because I don't trust that at all. This has an all-time play peak of 42 players. Nobody's saying it's awful. It's from a developer who hasn't made anything else, but the price is right at $2.99 right now, so I'm gonna tentatively recommend it. Sure, a lot of this game is probably pre-bought assets, but they seem to be placed in logical, smart ways. They're not just randomly in an area.
What a ball.
So Paradox of the Cryptomancers is there. It's weird to sell a game on cryptocurrency and have a game that actually looks like it might be decent. It's also going to be weird if I put that on my wish list and then come back a year later and see the inevitable comments that nobody ever found all the solutions, it's impossible, nobody got paid after they did find the solutions, and this was all just a scam. Half a Bitcoin, what is a Bitcoin going for now? This is like $500? So you're talking potentially $100 prize if you're splitting it between 20 people.
Love my new recipe.
Sever my wrath!
And we have a game called Knife Flipping on Steam that is what it sounds like. Seems like it's a knife flipping game. It doesn't look terrible. It kind of looks like a mobile game. There's an all-time peak of 2. It's 40% off for 59 cents. The thing about something like this is certainly it's going to it would be better if it was a mini game, not a entire game built around a single concept. The first review I see is not recommended. It says, "What the heck is this? The worst game ever played. Why did you have in mind while making the game? Did you think no one could ever make much higher so they couldn't get that coins?
I wonder.
Stop it, get some help, and then do it again. Just do it." Like, I don't even know what that review was at the end of the day. Then that review really devolved into nonsensical rant.
Push me.
Yeah, it doesn't look especially interesting, so I'm gonna close Knife Flipper. We have a game called Manaya, M-A-N-A-Y-A. A simple bullet hell action game. Let's see how it looks. The thing I would say about this is it's a one-screen game that has a small thought of an idea for doing kind of a Mayan style bullet hell game, but it's like a one-screen game. It's $2.54 with it being 15% off, and it's just not good. Just not visually appealing. Has 3 positive reviews and 0 negative reviews. And my timer just went off, and we still have a couple of games to talk about. We have a game called Ouroboros, which is a sexual content nudity action adventure RPG that looks like an RPG Maker game. So even if it did have sexual content nudity, you're literally talking probably of spending 60 plus hours to see 5 pictures. That's the ultimate joke about Honey Pop, is that if you spend all the time playing Honey Pop, I spent about 60 hours on that game to see maybe 18 pictures that are censored by default on Steam. The reviews from this developer are all positive for the 3 games they've made, but I don't see anything here that interests me. Mostly it's because it's RPG Maker games, and I think you pretty much have to be in a subclass of video game players if you're liking the pixel 8-bit top-down graphics of RPGs and the grinding of RPGs. So moving on, next game we have is called Ethereum. It's early access indie action adventure. It says you navigate through an ancient course spanning the floating land of Ethereum. Use your wit and skill to traverse lava-filled caverns, vibrant jungles, and bridge your tundra and sand-swept deserts. It looks like an infinite runner with maybe some other elements like sliding and jumping and opening portals, swinging the portals. But the crazy part about this is a VR game, early access VR game, $4.99. So motion sickness simulator, almost certainly. Like, I do not believe you could have any kind of good experience there. Let's see, so go ahead and not recommend that. And we're at the Humble Bundle, and there's no new bundle still, so the Cosplay 2.0 bundle is the only thing. It's got like one more day to it, and that's a book bundle, and that's the one thing that has caught my attention.
I wonder.
Let's see. Another thing to point out is that over the course of a week, I'm releasing so many videos that this auto exporter for my videos on YouTube to Twitch is not really catching up. It's slightly below 4,000 videos still, and it's been, feels like at least a week now where it's been trying. The main reason, of course, is because Twitch itself is limiting it. I think the auto exporter would be done by now, and just uploading the 5 videos that happen every day or every weekday or so, but because it's getting limited, it's not really catching up, or it's doing it rather slowly, so it may be several months. I suppose if I can figure out how to make a calendar or an email list, I don't think I could probably get away with making an email list. I don't think people would be interested in it anyways. But a calendar might work. If I find that and make that, and that's a new link I need to add to my channel, I am going to try to remake that link, certainly for all my existing videos, and so I'll try and do a search and replace and update the social links. I try to do that as much as possible, always. Alright, so now I'm on Twitter, and once this game is done, I'll be done with the daily quests, I'm pretty sure. It's 2 weeks till E3, according to Jeff Keighley. And so, I want to announce it now, live, so I don't sound like just a lunatic when I claim this. But I suspect the announcements for the E3, which will mostly be for games that are planned to be released in 2019. 2019, I believe, is going to be the year of the vampire, in the similar way that 2018 was supposed to be the year of the pirate. Didn't really work out for the year of the pirate with Sea of Thieves or the other game that got delayed, but that is my prediction. I think we're going to see a considerable number of games coming out in 2019, and this is an informed guess, certainly, because there already have been games announced that are vampire based, but I think we're going to see a lot more. It would be unfair to say any year is the year of the zombie, frankly, because aren't they all? There's enough zombie games that come out every year, so it'd have to be a very dominant year. PC Gamer has a first impressions of a game called Matcha Villana, which I don't think is out yet, so I might talk about that on Wednesday. But I'm gonna probably scroll down Twitter here and not see anything because of Memorial Day. This is one of those rare instances in which we're not doing any, not gonna go late. 2 hours ago, episode 907 of Hearthstone aired. Probably several. Let's see. Apparently a Bloodborne prototype map was found hidden in Dark Souls Remastered, then imported to GTA 5 for some reason. That seems like a crazy PC Gamer thing. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article about a game we'll talk about on Wednesday. The president of the ESA calls for self-regulation of loot boxes. No surprise there, because ESA is already self-regulation, so they're literally calling for self-regulation on top of self-regulation. They're doing everything in their possibility to stop governments from looking into loot box gambling. So yeah, I have no interest in watching this PC Gamer article of Trevor from GTA 5 running around a prototype Bloodborne map. 3 hours ago, Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 Episode 10 aired on my channel.
Reporting for duty.
Long-awaited VR stealth game budget cuts going to be released this Thursday. I guess we'll talk about that Wednesday. Let's see. I think at a point I'm gonna have to scroll down past a certain point to get Twitter to show me new content again. 4 hours ago, Assassin's Creed Revelations Episode 4 is there, so there's still a lot of time to catch up and get into that one. Let's see,
Reporting for duty.
Why am I still following AMD Gaming?
Reporting for duty.
I guess they don't tweet that
Reporting for duty.
much. Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, did come out and say that as they are the publisher of We Happy Few, that he kind of pointed out that We Happy Few is a game about censorship being censored by Australia's rating board. I think it was probably a little too early to come out swinging because in the background they're still probably trying to get it actually approved. If they don't ever get it approved, then that would be about the time to point out the accurate description that the Australian's classification board is literally censoring that game and not allowing it to be sold. 5 hours ago, Star Wars The Clone Wars Republic Heroes number 13 aired on my channel. Let's keep on scrolling down. A new game came out 6 hours ago I didn't see. It doesn't look like it's good. We'll talk about it on Wednesday. There's another game that came out 6 hours ago that I don't think I saw. Apparently Sledgehammer Games might be announcing something tomorrow. That would be interesting. Here's another game we'll talk about on Wednesday. Let's see. Blizzard aims to expand the Overwatch League by 6 teams. Interesting, I suppose. They want Overwatch to be an esport. A major, like, NFL going on for a long time esport, and I don't know if that's realistic at all. See, I'm looking at content on my Twitter page that says it's 7 hours old. I didn't see it 3 hours ago when I started streaming, because that was the very first thing I did, and just scroll down my Twitter looking for content. So it seems like the time is not in line with when it actually gets shown to you, almost as if there's a delayed filtering happening, which maybe there is a delayed filtering happening on all content posted to Twitter before it gets released to followers. PC Gamer has another pointless article about which PC game has the best fishing minigame. And you know they're running out of ideas when they write one of those. Only a few more days left to get the Lenar's Golden Garden card back added to your collection. So you have to get 5 ranked victories, which I've done on everything except for my mobile account, my secondary account, which who cares about that. I was so bored one day I was trying to actually play that because I have like 2 mandatory quests and still didn't make any progress on it. It's just too much work, too much extra playing of Hearthstone for no real good reason.
The sun has set for me.
Behold the might of storm wind.
Right, that's content we saw before. So now I just need to start scrolling down a little bit faster and see if there's any new content that loads. For me, the Twitter hits a spinning circle that just never continues after you hit the spinning circle a couple times. Still haven't played enough Battlecry cards. Do we have anything else that we need to do? We need to do Monster Hunt battle bosses too. Let's do that. Monster Hunt. What are we playing? Probably Jade. Take the Jade and play. So I need to get the battle cries done, but I guess I'm gonna leave it for Friday, or I might even play it off screen to get these boss battles done. Like they're not the most entertaining things in the world. They're pretty good, but they're not great. Scroll down. I'm gonna burn out my finger scrolling down so much. That is 1 damage with no sound effect. There's a battle cry character.
Not once, but twice.
The Humble Spring Sale is about done, or maybe even has finished. The Humble Spring Sale would have been another opportunity for people to buy games on the cheap. Direct message me the codes, and that would be rather helpful too. Wherever people can get the games cheap, as long as they end up with a Steam code at the end. Like, I wouldn't promote G2A, but I also wouldn't inherently denounce somebody that bought games keys there. The problem with something like G2A and the other stolen key sites is that I would get a key, it wouldn't work, and then that would introduce a lot of awkwardness where somebody sends me a key and I either don't respond back and say, well, this one didn't work actually, or I do respond back and then they feel like they're on the hook to buy a second copy of the key. That's why in general when giving a gift you don't want to buy something that's shady and potentially broken, because it's not just, it's your reputation on the line. Let's see, do this, shuffle that, and do this, and do that, and then return.
What? They fell off a truck.
Someone call for the doctor.
Scrolling down. Highly unlikely that there's any more. Oh, that little mouse game came and went. I wanted to play that. I still do, but it's now kind of out of relevance. So many games fall out of relevance unless you play them brand new, and it kind of inherently says that they weren't ever actually in relevance in the first place.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
There we go. Double battle cries because of this guy.
Perfect specimen.
What? They fell off a truck.
Let's play this. Play this.
You going now?
Play some Control.
What? They fell off a truck.
You're so sweet.
Continuously scrolling down. I'm pretty sure I've covered all the content, though. Like, I don't think... I'm seeing stuff from yesterday evening that I saw, and yesterday morning and afternoon that I saw. Let's see. Battlecry summon subject golems. So before we do that, let's make sure we don't have room. Take a shadow step while we're at it.
You die now.
Go ahead.
Take another shadow step. Apparently, you got so many opportunities to win here. And there we go. I hit the final bit. And there's 2 new tweets at the top of my Twitter. Let's see. Battlefield 5's minimal system requirements are out there.
Golems are a girl's best friend.
Just take another shadow step. And return. See, I've got like time now, so I can. Let's see. You can look at this PC Gamer article. Machiavellian is a monster mansion management sim.
I don't have many cards left.
Graphics don't look amazingly great. Seems like there's a lot on the screen. And there doesn't seem to be a link to a Steam page or anything. So that's what I figured. This is a really early access the game they've been given. Can we win here? Yes, we can.
Is done.
Just keep on playing. I'm scrolling down, reading articles. See, that's like one victory. And so do I want to keep going? Let's not ruin a winning streak. We may just have a silent bit of gameplay here at the end of this recording.
By wing and talon,
Like,
my
this is gonna go
hardy
long
sisters
enough
keep
that
peace in my wood.
let's just hurry up. I could have broken it up and made a 4th episode. Not that I need a 4th episode. So I'm looking at some pictures, a lot of pictures, frankly, of this. I believe it's a PlayStation 4 and PS Vita game coming out July 5th in Japan, and it's planned to come in the PC and PS4 in the North America and Europe releases, but no release date has been set. It's some kind of horror-esque RPG dungeon crawler game, as best I can tell. It's called seems like maybe you're chasing after ghosts or creatures as like a side career.
Your magic only darkens this wood.
So they draw a card for every spell I cast. All right, we can work with that. It's called Zenki Zero. This game looks like it's gonna be your average Japanese dungeon crawler game, which is to say not much. Let's see. I'm just gonna play this again, and then do this, and then play this, and then do this.
I only grow stronger, fool.
The weird thing is I could play this, then do this, and then play this again, and then just keep on filling my deck with surly mobs that would destroy enemies. Let's just see how this works. Mark of the Wild?
Job's done.
Oh my goodness, it's bugged. Nobody's played Mark of the Wild. Oh, apparently they did play Mark of the Wild. Well, that seems crazy. Apparently you can't do surly mob. They programmed it out. PC Gamer's article, ESA President defends loot boxes once against government regulations. Michael Gallagher said opting for the lowest common denominator of government regulation will stifle creativity. Like, important to always remember the ESA is nothing but a industry organization designed to lobby and to stop the government from actually regulating games. And they're only really regulating the games from 2 points too. It's are you selling appropriate content to appropriately aged people, and are you engaging in, now with the loot box controversy, something that is directly harmful to people and dangerous.
Job's done.
Or manipulative. PC Gamers, the long-awaited VR stealth game Budget Cuts to release this Thursday. Let's watch the trailer for Budget Cuts as we're still playing. I guess if I lose, that'll be the end of this recording. It wouldn't be too much to go play a game and... Let's see. Let's play this.
Try your luck.
Play this. So, what is Budget Cuts? I'm supposed to be watching the trailer, but I haven't seen it. Seems like there's a bunch of robots, and you're playing as a robot, pretending to work like a human in an office. And there's like some hide and seek element, or you're sneaking around an office, maybe doing some kind of corporate espionage. There's a lot of throwing things and attacking the robots. Now, I played poorly before. Let's see. So I'm gonna try and correct that. 12 cards to 14 cards. Budget Cuts is going to cost $30. It is on Steam, but I'm not going to even bother to wishlist it because, like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't look like it's a game that would survive 10 or 20 years from now when VR. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Even 5 years from now. Let's say I plan on having a VR headset in 5 years from now. Probably not even then, but let's just guess. That game, Budget Cuts, doesn't look like a game that we would be playing at that time. Let's just use them with 2 cards. versus 13 cards. Let's see, what is this? Game Jungle on Steam. The main gameplay screen is so zoomed out, and it seems like you're playing as some kind of action tower defense brawler, it seems like. Or missions, or it's just not a, it's a shooter, it's a, I guess, twin stick shooter, but you're leading your army to victory. Maybe you're just driving the truck in the background and you set up an army to protect your own truck. So it's kind of a tower defense thing.
Go ahead.
First kill.
Yeah,
I love
Jungle Juggle. First game from this developer, no discount, $2.99. The graphics kill it for me. It looks like a real game, it just doesn't look like a game that interests me. And so much for quick victories there. So then the question becomes, if I come over here, I need to play 7 more Battlecry things or get 2 more victories. It'd be rather easy to play the victories. I'm just instead going to, might as well play that. You know, you never know. You might win. We're working towards those 500 ranked victories. So we need to play 7 Battlecry cards. Then we'll be done for today. There's a game called Fated Kingdom that's some kind of board game, but it doesn't seem like there's actually any rules or forced on it, so you're just able to put cards wherever you want, roll the dice wherever you want. There may be some rules there, but I think it still allows for a lot of cheating, which kind of undoes any reason why you would ever want to play a game on a PC version versus just playing the actual board game, where it would be quicker. This,
Speak your
this,
peace.
in between. It also seems like it's a Fated Kingdom is a digital board game. It doesn't seem like it's based on a real board game, so there's no popularity. There's no single player, it's early access. It's probably very lazy to say the game is not forcing any rules. And the more like this recommendation is just to play Tabletop Simulator, which I agree is Tabletop Simulator is going to do you better, almost certainly, than anything that tries to do similar things. There's one not recommended review for no single player. That's all it says. And I agree. At 10% off for $8.99 from a developer that I don't believe has made anything else. Nope. Yep, so we can close that. We're back to reading game reviews, but there aren't too many. We should have played 6 Battlecry cards at least now. There's a game called Nothing But Net, a VR basketball game. Looks pretty good. It's still weird though, because you're jumping around, seemingly passing to yourself, holding the ball in a weird way. You're not dribbling. You're not really playing basketball. You're just kind of passing to yourself and trying to get, I am assuming, a lot of 3-point shots.
What a bother.
There's some mini games and other elements here that might add something to it. The referee is a robot for some reason, and seems like there's a decent number of dude perfect type elements, like you can break the glass, you can shoot from higher distances. Let's see what the price is. 40 Steam achievements, requires Oculus Rift, 30% off, $6.99. I think nothing but net, if you had VR, probably does offer something. There's 4 positive and 1 negative review. And the negative review is an arcade toony style, sounds were not good, didn't like it. It was more of a sim. If it was more of a sim, it would work great. And there's tons of basketball and sports VR games already, so the competition is tightest in making a VR sports game. And this is from a developer who's made nothing else. 30% off for $6.99. It looks like a good game. It suffers slightly from a generic idea. Let's see. And next game we have is a Black Roses. It's called Black Roses. It's a 2D time trial shooter platformer. You must fight your way through the game as fast as possible to beat other people's speeds. That's what it says it is, but what really it is just a garbage looking game that seems like it was probably made by a student. Graphics aren't MS Paint level, but they're just ever so close to it. Not good looking. 99 cents. It's still too expensive for a game that looks like that. Next game we have on Steam is called Traffic Cop, which we already had a game that was similar to this, and this is a completely different one. In fact, it looks a lot more detailed. Unfortunately, it's a VR game selling for $19.99, so it's way too expensive. Considering you're playing as a police officer standing in the middle of the road, and you're directing traffic, telling people to go forward and in different directions, with a kind of point and click interface that's awkward and not in line with what you would expect, how the game should work. And then you apparently can throw trash at people as they pass by if they're near, and cause accidents. And the donut shop will throw donuts towards you that you can eat, and apparently you have a slingshot for no reason. Like, what a weird mess of a game. Way too expensive. And that's the other thing. That's the only thing you really need to know. We have a game called The Other Side of the Screen. And it looks like it's a cheap kind of asset flip horror game, which you've probably seen a lot of them. This is the only game from this developer. It's $1.99, nothing on discount. Rush. Says it's an indie gore action horror with great soundtrack. The trailer's showing off some animation of 2D characters that don't even show up in any of the other screenshots where it's a 3D game. This is in English and Russian, so I'm fairly certain now it is a terrible Russian game. The only review in English is not recommended. Keep playing these battle cries. I'm about to lose, but that's alright. We have a game called Planet Unknown Runner. It's just an infinite runner garbage game. Don't really need to say anything else there. 40% off for 59 cents, no reviews. Let's see. We got a game called Zombie Force 2, which is a top-down dual-stick shooter zombie game. Thematically and artistically, it is a little bit more put together than you normally would expect, but it still doesn't look very good. And it's $11.99, and I believe this developer has released something else. The thumbnail. No, nothing else released. Yeah. It's funny, I can almost certainly remember this developer's name, so is he just putting things on Steam and then they're getting taken off? Or he's taking them off and putting them back on? Zombie Force 2, weird game to have a sequel to, considering you already it's the only game you have available for purchase. Then we go back to Twitter. So we're done. Wednesday we'll deal with this. If it becomes an issue, I might do this off screen, but I don't think a reason to do that. We've gone 50 extra minutes in streaming. It seems like that is very consistently being an issue. I don't know if it maybe is fixing some things though, because it's stopping my Hearthstone series from moving drastically far ahead in the future, even though it is probably several months further ahead than anything else. That's gonna be it for this recording and this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below in the description box. When you subscribe, please click the notification bell. Maybe that helps, maybe it doesn't. Do it anyways. And if you want to support me even further, gift me a game on Steam or a gift card on Steam. Help me build up some financing for the next Steam summer sale. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.